Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything. You guys watch the video and feel it. Then let's evaluate together. The rain slammed down on Vine City, Atlanta, like it was trying to drown the whole neighborhood in one go. Streetlights flickered, casting a hazy neon glow over the wet pavement, and the distant hum of R&B spilled out from a corner bar, mixing with the patter of raindrops. Amara Johnson stood under a sagging awning, her thrift store jacket doing little to keep the Georgia downpour at bay. At 32, with deep brown skin and a crown of natural curls tied high in a messy bun, she had a presence that turned heads, a sharp gaze, a confident sway, like she could own the block if she wanted. But right now, all she wanted was a cheap Uber to get her home before her late shift at Soul Haven, the diner where she slung plates of fried chicken and cornbread with a smile that hid her exhaustion. Her phone screen glowed as she scrolled through the app, wincing at the surge prices. $15 sat in her wallet, the last of her emergency stash after paying the electric bill and buying Mia's school supplies. Mia, her 6-year-old, was probably at home with Ms. Rosa, their Puerto Rican neighbor, doodling pictures of black superheroes or begging for another bedtime story. Amara's heart tugged at the thought of her daughter's gap-toothed grin, the way she'd asked for a backyard to plant flowers like Grandma. But dreams like that were far off when every dollar was a choice between groceries and gas. A flash of movement caught her eye. Across the street, a man slumped on a bench, soaked to the bone, his dark suit clinging to him like a second skin. He looked out of place in Vine City, like he'd wandered over from the glitzy bars of Midtown and gotten lost. His head was bowed, hands fumbling with a dead phone, and something about his posture, defeated, almost desperate, made Amara pause. She squinted through the rain, her practical side screaming to keep walking. Those $15 were her ride home, her safety net. But her grandma's voice echoed in her mind, warm as a Sunday sermon. Kindness is the only thing you can give for free, baby. Hey! She called, stepping out from the awning, rain pelting her face. You good over there? The man's head snapped up, his face pale but ruggedly handsome, with a jawline sharp enough to cut through the storm. He looked maybe 40, with a hint of silver at his temples and eyes that held a mix of embarrassment and relief. Not exactly, he said, his voice low, almost lost in the rain. Lost my wallet. Phone's dead. I'm stuck. Amara raised an eyebrow, her lips twitching. Stuck? Man, you look like you just ran a marathon in that suit. She crossed the street, her sneakers squelching, and stood a few feet away, sizing him up. He didn't seem like trouble, just a guy who'd had a rough night. What's your name? Marcus, he said, rubbing his neck. Marcus Wright. And you're... Amara. She hesitated, glancing at her phone. The Uber app was still open, mocking her with its prices. Her shift at Soul Haven started in an hour, and walking home in this mess wasn't an option if she wanted to stay dry for work. But Marcus's eyes held hers, and there was something raw in them, like he wasn't used to needing help. She sighed, muttering under her breath, Grandma, you better be right about this karma stuff. All right, Marcus, she said, tapping her phone to book a ride. I'm getting you an Uber. Where you headed? His eyes widened. You don't have to. I mean, I can figure it out. Just give me your number. I'll pay you back. Amara chuckled, waving him off. Nah, I'm not giving my number to some random dude in the rain, no offense. Just get home safe and do something nice for someone else someday, cool? She handed the driver her last crumpled bills as the car pulled up, the rain blurring the taillights. Marcus climbed in, leaning out the window, his wet hair plastered to his forehead. Amara, he called, his voice carrying a weight she couldn't place. I won't forget this. She flashed a grin, rain dripping off her nose. Better not, suit guy. Stay dry. The car pulled away, and she turned, trudging through the storm toward her apartment, her heart a mix of warmth and worry. $15 gone, and now she'd have to walk to work after changing. But as the rain soaked her jacket, she felt a strange lightness, like she'd done something that mattered, even if she couldn't explain why. What Amara didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that Marcus Wright wasn't just some guy caught in the rain. He was the billionaire CEO of Horizon Tech, one of Atlanta's biggest tech companies, a man whose name graced skyscrapers and charity galas. And that one rainy night, under a flickering Vine City streetlight, was about to set her life on a path she never could have dreamed. Amara's apartment was a small second-floor unit in a weathered brick building, the kind where the stairs creaked and the radiator hissed like it was auditioning for a horror movie. She pushed open the door, the smell of Ms. Rosa's arroz con gandules lingering from dinner. Mia was sprawled on the living room rug, crayons scattered around her, sketching a superhero with a bright purple cape. Ms. Rosa, a wiry woman in her 60s with a flamenco dancer's posture, looked up from the couch, her eyes twinkling. "Girl, you look like you swam home," Rosa said, setting down her knitting. "What happened to your ride?" Amara kicked off her soggy sneakers, forcing a smile. "Long story, Rosa. Let's just say I made a new friend in the rain." She glanced at Mia, who hadn't looked up from her drawing. "Hey, superhero, you behaving for Ms. Rosa?" Mia's head popped up, her braids bouncing. "Yup, I drew Captain Star, Mama. She's got laser eyes and flies to the moon." Her gap-toothed grin was enough to melt the chill from Amara's bones. "Laser eyes, huh? That's my girl." Amara knelt, kissing Mia's forehead, her damp curls brushing the girl's cheek. "Now clean up those crayons. Mama's got to change for work." Rosa raised an eyebrow as Amara headed to her tiny bedroom. "You sure you're okay, Mia? You got that look, like you did something crazy." Amara laughed, peeling off her jacket. "Crazy's my middle name, Rosa. I'll tell you later." In her room, she swapped her wet clothes for her Soul Haven uniform, a black polo and jeans that hugged her curves just enough to earn decent tips. She caught her reflection in the cracked mirror, her brown skin glowing despite the fluorescent light. "Not bad for a drowned rat," she muttered, tying her curls into a fresh bun. But her mind drifted to Marcus, his deep voice, the way his eyes had lingered. She shook her head. "Get it together, Amara. He's probably halfway to Buckhead by now." At Soul Haven, the diner was a slice of Atlanta's heart, checkered floors, jukebox pumping Aretha Franklin, and the smell of fried catfish and collard greens. Amara tied on her apron, weaving through the dinner rush with practiced ease. Her best friend, Tasha Green, was already behind the counter, her locks pulled back, flashing a grin at a customer to coax a bigger tip. "Yo, Mara, you're late," Tasha teased, sliding a plate of cornbread across the counter. "What's the excuse this time? Saving a puppy?" Amara smirked, grabbing a tray. "Nah, just playing Uber fairy godmother. Some guy was stranded in the rain, so I gave him my last cash." Tasha's jaw dropped. "Girl, you gave away your money. You're out here living like Oprah, and I can't even afford new nails." Amara laughed, balancing plates. "It was $15, Tasha. I'll survive. Besides, he looked like he needed it more than me." Tasha leaned in, her eyes gleaming. "Was he cute, though? Spill the tea." Amara rolled her eyes, but a smile tugged at her lips. "He was all right. Nice suit, bad luck. Called himself Marcus." "Marcus, huh?" Tasha waggled her eyebrows. "Sounds like a sugar daddy. You get his number?" "Nope," Amara said, heading to a table. "And I don't need no sugar daddy. I got Mia and my hustle." The night blurred into a haze of orders and small talk, Amara's charm earning her a few extra bucks in tips. But as she wiped down tables, her thoughts kept drifting to Marcus. There'd been something about him, a quiet intensity, a spark in his eyes that felt like more than gratitude. She pushed it aside, focusing on the clink of dishes and the rhythm of the jukebox. Romance was a luxury she couldn't afford, not when rent was due and Mia needed new shoes. The next morning, sunlight streamed through Amara's thin curtains, painting her bedroom in soft gold. Mia was already up, singing a made-up song about Captain Star, while Amara scrambled eggs with the last two in the carton. The apartment felt smaller today, the weight of bills pressing in. She'd used her emergency cash on Marcus's Uber, and the thought brought a flicker of regret. Had she been reckless? Mia's laughter snapped her out of it, and she forced a smile, setting a plate in front of her daughter. "Eat up, superhero," Amara said, ruffling Mia's braids. "We got a big day. You're going to school and Mama's got work." Mia grinned, her mouth full. "Can we go to the park later? I want to draw the ducks." Amara's heart squeezed. The park was free, at least. "Deal, baby girl. Ducks it is." As she walked Mia to the bus stop, the Atlanta skyline loomed in the distance, all glass and ambition. Vine City was worlds away from the skyscrapers of Midtown. But Amara had always loved her neighborhood. The murals on brick walls, the old men playing chess on stoops, the kids racing bikes down cracked sidewalks. It was home, even if it came with struggles. She waved as Mia's bus pulled away, then headed to her day job at a small graphic design studio above a dry cleaner's. The pay was barely enough to cover daycare, but it let her flex her creative side, sketching logos and flyers when the boss wasn't barking orders. Her phone buzzed as she climbed the studio's creaky stairs. An unknown number. Probably a telemarketer, she thought. But something made her answer. "Hello? Ms. Johnson?" A woman's voice, polished and professional. "This is Adrienne from Horizon Tech. I'm calling on behalf of Mr. Marcus Wright. He'd like to meet with you regarding an opportunity. Are you available this afternoon?" Amara froze, her hand gripping the railing. Horizon Tech? The company that plastered its name on billboards and sponsored half the city's charity events? And Marcus Wright, her rain-soaked stranger, was involved? Her mind raced, a mix of suspicion and curiosity. What kind of opportunity?" "Mr. Wright will explain in person," Adrienne said. "He mentioned you helped him recently. We're at our Midtown office, 1:00 p.m. Can you make it?" Amara's pulse quickened. She had a shift at Soul Haven tonight, but this sounded big. "Yeah, I'll be there," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The call ended, and she stood there, the hum of the dry cleaner's machines below filling the silence. Marcus hadn't forgotten her, just like he'd promised. But what did a man like him want with a woman like her? The Horizon Tech building was a sleek tower of glass and steel, rising above Midtown like a beacon of wealth. Amara stepped off the bus, smoothing her thrift store blazer and the dress she'd sewn herself, a simple black number that hugged her curves just right. Her curls were loose, framing her face, and she'd added a touch of lip gloss, hoping it was enough to look professional. The lobby was all marble and modern art, with security guards nodding at suited employees who moved like they owned the world. Amara felt out of place, her sneakers squeaking on the polished floor, but she squared her shoulders. She'd faced tougher rooms than this. The receptionist handed her a visitor's badge, directing her to the 22nd floor. In the elevator, Amara checked her reflection, her brown eyes steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "You got this," she whispered, "whatever this is." The doors opened to a panoramic view of Atlanta, skyscrapers glittering under the sun. A woman in a crisp blazer, Adrienne, she assumed, greeted her. "Ms. Johnson, right this way." They passed glass-walled offices, employees tapping away at sleek laptops, until they reached a corner suite. Adrienne knocked, and a familiar voice called, "Come in?" Marcus Wright stood behind a polished desk, his presence commanding yet warm. Gone was the drenched, disheveled man from the rain. Now, in a tailored navy suit, he looked every bit the CEO. tall, broad-shouldered, with that hint of silver in his hair and a smile that made Amara's breath catch. His office was minimalist, with a single potted plant and floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city. "Amara," he said, his voice rich, stepping around the desk to shake her hand. "Good to see you again." She managed to smile, her hand warm in his. "Didn't expect to see you in a dry suit, Marcus. What's this about?" He chuckled, gesturing to a leather sofa. "Please, sit. And call me Marcus. No formalities. That night in the rain, you saved me. I meant it when I said I wouldn't forget." Amara sat, crossing her legs, her dress riding up slightly. She noticed his eyes flicker just for a second before he sat across from her, his gaze steady. "I was having a rough night," he continued. "Personal stuff. I'd left a gala, no wallet, no phone. You didn't just give me a ride. You reminded me there's still good in the world." Her cheeks warmed. "It was just $15. No big deal." "It was to me," he said, leaning forward, his intensity drawing her in. "I run Horizon Tech, and we have a new apprenticeship program for people with potential. I want you in it. It's paid, with training, benefits, a shot at a permanent role. What do you say?" Amara's mouth went dry. Horizon Tech was the kind of place people dreamed of, a ticket out of scraping by. But why her? She had no degree, no connections. "Marcus, I'm a diner waitress with a kid. I don't know tech. Why me?" His smile softened, and there it was again, that spark in his eyes, like he saw something in her she hadn't seen herself. "Because you've got heart, Amara, and grit. I've seen plenty of resumes, but I've never seen someone give their last dollar to a stranger. That's the kind of person I want at Horizon." She swallowed, her mind spinning. A chance like this could change everything. For her, for Mia. But there was a catch. She could feel it. Men like Marcus didn't just hand out opportunities without strings. Still, the way he looked at her, like he believed in her, made her want to say yes. "All right," she said finally, her voice firm. "I'm in, but don't expect me to go easy just 'cause you got a fancy office." He laughed, a deep, genuine sound that sent a shiver through her. "Wouldn't dream of it. Welcome to Horizon, Amara." As she left his office, her visitor's badge in hand, Amara felt the city's pulse through the windows, like Atlanta itself was cheering her on. She didn't know what lay ahead, only that Marcus Wright had just opened a door to a world she'd never dared imagine. And somewhere, deep down, she felt the first stirrings of something else, something dangerous and thrilling in the way his eyes had followed her out the door. "Hey, y'all, where are you reading this from? Drop your city in the comments and let me know what you think of Amara's big move. Follow along to see where this story takes her." Amara stepped out of the Horizon Tech Tower into the humid Atlanta afternoon, the city's pulse thrumming around her. Midtown buzzed with lunch-hour crowds, suits grabbing food truck tacos, street performers drumming on buckets, and the distant wail of a siren weaving through the skyscrapers. Her visitor's badge was tucked in her purse, but Marcus Wright's words still echoed in her head. "You've got heart, Amara. That's the kind of person I want at Horizon." Her thrift store blazer felt too tight, her sewn dress too simple for the sleek world she'd just glimpsed, but the possibility of a new life, a real shot at stability for her and Mia, lit a fire in her chest. She caught her reflection in a shop window, her brown skin glowing, curls bouncing as she walked. "All right, Atlanta," she muttered, a grin tugging at her lips. "Let's see what you got for me." The bus ride back to Vine City was a blur of thoughts. Horizon Tech's apprenticeship program sounded like a dream, but dreams came with risks. Amara had no tech experience, no college degree, just a knack for sketching designs and a hustle that had kept her and Mia afloat. What if she couldn't keep up? And Marcus, his intense eyes, that low chuckle, there was something about him that set her nerves alight. something more than just gratitude. She shook her head, pushing the thought away. Focus, girl, she told herself, staring out at the passing murals and corner stores. This is about Mia, not some billionaire with a nice smile. Back at her apartment, the familiar creak of the stairs greeted her. Ms. Rosa was in the kitchen stirring a pot of arroz con pollo, the smell of saffron and garlic filling the small space. Mia sat at the table, her crayons a riot of color as she worked on a new superhero drawing. "Mama!" Mia squealed, leaping up to hug Amara's legs. "Did you see the ducks yet?" Amara laughed, scooping her daughter into her arms. "Not yet, superhero, but we'll hit the park soon, promise." She kissed Mia's forehead, her braids tickling Amara's chin. "You been good for Ms. Rosa?" "Always," Rosa said, winking as she turned down the stove. "But you, mija, you got that look. What's going on? Spill it." Amara set Mia down, glancing at the older woman's knowing smile. Rosa had a way of reading her, like she'd seen every chapter of Amara's life before it was written. "Got a meeting today," Amara said, keeping her voice casual. "Might be a new job thing. Big company, Horizon Tech." Rosa's eyes widened. "Horizon? The ones with those fancy billboards? Girl, that's no small potatoes. How'd you land that?" Amara hesitated, not ready to dive into the story of Marcus and the rain. "Just helped a guy out. He works there, hooked me up with a shot at their apprenticeship program." Mia looked up, her crayon pausing. "Is it like a superhero job, Mama? Do you get a cape?" Amara chuckled, ruffling Mia's hair. "No cape, baby girl, but maybe a better paycheck. We'll see." She caught Rosa's curious glance but dodged it, heading to change out of her dress. In her bedroom, she swapped for jeans and a Soul Haven polo, her mind racing. The apprenticeship was a chance to break the cycle of scraping by, but it meant juggling 2 jobs, daycare, and proving herself in a world she barely understood. And Marcus, why was he so invested in her? She pushed the thought aside, tying her curls into a quick bun. Time to focus. She had a shift to get through. Soul Haven was packed when Amara arrived, the diner's neon sign buzzing over the checkered floor. The jukebox blared Otis Redding, and the air was thick with the smell of fried catfish and peach cobbler. Tasha Green was in her element, weaving between tables with a tray of sweet tea, her locks swinging as she flirted with a regular for a bigger tip. "Mara, you're late again," Tasha called, tossing her a mock glare. "What's the excuse this time? Saving the mayor?" Amara tied on her apron, grinning. "Nah, just auditioning for CEO of Atlanta. You know, small stuff." Tasha snorted, sliding a plate of collards her way. "Girl, you're too much. But for real, you okay? You got that glow, like you're hiding something juicy." Amara laughed, grabbing the plate. "No tea to spill, Tasha. Just had a wild day." She didn't mention Marcus or Horizon, not yet. Tasha would turn it into a full-blown rom-com, and Amara wasn't ready for that. She dove into the rush, taking orders with her usual charm, her smile coaxing tips from even the grumpiest customers. But between refilling coffee and dodging their manager Ron's barked orders, her mind kept drifting to Marcus's office, the way his hand had lingered in hers, the spark in his eyes that felt like a promise and a warning. "Table 5's waiting, Evans," Ron snapped, his stocky frame looming behind the counter. He was a former chef with a chip on his shoulder, his dreams of a fine dining empire long buried under diner grease. Amara nodded, hurrying over. But Ron's attitude grated. She'd put up with it for years, but the thought of Horizon, a place where she might actually be valued, made his grumbling harder to stomach. As the night wound down, Tasha cornered her by the coffee machine. "All right, Mara, what's the deal? You've been spacey all shift. Did you meet a man or what?" Amara rolled her eyes, wiping down the counter. "You're relentless. Fine. I helped a guy in the rain last night, gave him my last cash for an Uber. Turns out he's some big shot at Horizon Tech, and now he's offering me a job thing." Tasha's mouth fell open. "Horizon Tech? Girl, that's like winning the lottery. And he's a big shot? Is he fine? Tell me he's fine." Amara laughed, shaking her head. "He's all right. Marcus something. Nice suit, kinda intense." "Marcus, huh?" Tasha leaned in, grinning like she'd cracked a code. "Intense is code for hot. You get his number?" "Nope," Amara said, tossing a rag at her. "And I'm not trying to. I got Mia to think about, not some suit with a savior complex." Tasha wagged a finger. Keep telling yourself that. But I'm calling it now. You and this Marcus are gonna be a whole vibe." Amara waved her off, but as she locked up the diner, Tasha's words lingered. The Atlanta night was warm, the sky clear now, stars peeking through the city's glow. She walked home, the memory of Marcus's smile tugging at her, a mix of excitement and caution swirling in her chest. Whatever horizon held, she'd face it head on. For Mia, for herself, and maybe, just maybe, for the spark she'd felt under that rain-soaked streetlight. The next few days were a whirlwind. Amara juggled her shifts at Soul Haven and the design studio, squeezing in a visit to the park with Mia to draw ducks by the pond. Mia's giggles and the rustle of leaves eased her nerves, but the upcoming orientation at Horizon loomed large. She'd gotten an email from Adrienne with details. Report to the training center on Monday. Bring ID. Dress smart casual. Amara's wardrobe was more thrift chic than corporate, but she'd make it work. She spent a late night stitching a navy blouse to fit better, her sewing machine humming as she thought about Marcus. Was he really just paying back a favor, or was there more to his offer? She pushed the question aside, focusing on the needle and thread. Monday morning, Amara dropped Mia at school, kissing her forehead before the bus squeaked away. "Be good, superhero," she called, her heart swelling as Mia waved. She caught a bus to Midtown, her stomach a knot of nerves. The Horizon Tech lobby was even more intimidating in daylight, all gleaming marble and hushed efficiency. She flashed her ID at security, her thrift store blazer and blouse feeling like armor as she rode the elevator to the 10th floor. The training center was a bright, open space with motivational posters and interactive screens lining the walls. A dozen other apprentices milled about, some chatting, others clutching tablets like lifelines. Amara recognized a woman from the bus, Lena Morales, a single mom with a quick laugh and a knack for storytelling. "Yo, you made it," Lena said, sliding a chair over. "Thought I'd be the only one sweating bullets in here." Amara grinned, settling in. "Girl, I'm shaking worse than a bad TikTok dance. You know what we're doing today?" "Something about software and teamwork," Lena said, rolling her eyes. "I just hope they don't expect me to code. My boys barely let me use the Xbox." Amara laughed, the tension easing. Lena's warmth was a lifeline in this sea of strangers. The trainers arrived. Leo, a lanky guy with a tech bro vibe, and Camille Turner, a black woman in her 40s with a sharp gaze and a bold red blazer that screamed confidence. Camille's presence steadied Amara. She looked like someone who'd fought her way to the top and wasn't here for nonsense. "Welcome to Horizon's apprenticeship program," Camille said, her voice commanding the room. "You're here because someone saw potential in you. Over the next few months, you'll learn our systems, work on real projects, and prove you belong. Questions?" A guy in the back, Ethan Brooks, Amara later learned, raised his hand, his smirk smug. "So is this like a diversity thing? Or do we all have to actually know tech?" Camille's eyes narrowed, but her smile didn't waver. "It's a talent thing, Mr. Brooks. If you're here, you've got something to offer. Prove it or you're out." Amara exchanged a glance with Lena, both suppressing grins. Ethan's attitude was a red flag, but Camille's no-nonsense vibe was everything. The session kicked off with a crash course in Horizon's project management software, Amara scribbling notes on a tablet that felt like it cost more than her rent. She fumbled at first, the interface a maze of menus, but Lena leaned over, whispering tips. "Click the blue thing, girl. You got this." By midday, Amara was starting to get the hang of it, her design instincts kicking in as they mocked up a sample project. But her mind wandered to Marcus. Would he be checking in on the apprentices, or was he too busy running his empire? The thought of seeing him again sent a flutter through her, equal parts excitement and caution. She wasn't here to chase a man, no matter how his smile lingered in her mind. This was about building a future for Mia, about breaking free from the grind of diner shifts and dead-end gigs. The training room buzzed with energy as the apprentices broke for lunch, heading to Horizon's cafeteria, a sleek space with floor-to-ceiling windows and a spread that looked like a foodie's dream. Amara grabbed a tray, eyeing the options: grilled chicken wraps, quinoa salads, even sweet potato fries that smelled like home. It was a far cry from the greasy burgers at Soul Haven, and the best part? Horizon subsidized meals, meaning she could eat without wincing at the cost. She loaded up with a wrap and fries, joining Lena at a table where a few other apprentices were already chatting. "So, Amara, what's your story?" Lena asked, popping a fry in her mouth. "You don't strike me as the tech type, no shade." Amara laughed, sipping her iced tea. "None taken. I'm a waitress at Soul Haven, do some graphic design on the side. Got a 6-year-old who keeps me on my toes. You?" Lena grinned, leaning back. "2 teenage boys, God help me. They're why I'm here, trying to get a job that pays more than retail. Last week, my oldest tried making a TikTok and nearly set the kitchen on fire. I need benefits, stat." The table erupted in laughter, and Amara felt a warmth settle in. These were her people. Folks scraping by, chasing a shot at something better. Another apprentice, Jamal Carter, a lanky guy with a bright smile and a fade sharp enough to cut glass, chimed in. "Y'all, I was unemployed 6 months before this. Horizon's my lifeline, but I'm still scared I'll mess it up." "You won't," Amara said, surprising herself with the conviction in her voice. "We're all here for a reason. Just keep showing up." Lena raised her glass. "To showing up, then, and to not setting any kitchens on fire." They clinked glasses, the moment light but grounding. Amara was about to dig into her wrap when a ripple of murmurs spread through the cafeteria. Heads turned toward the entrance and her breath caught. Marcus Wright strode in, his navy suit crisp, his presence commanding without trying. He was flanked by a woman, tall, blonde, in a red dress that hugged every curve like it was custom-made. Her heels clicked on the tile, and her smile was all charm as she leaned in to whisper something to Marcus, her hand brushing his arm. Amara's stomach twisted, a mix of curiosity and something sharper. Who was she? Lena nudged her, whispering, "That's Vanessa Tate. Big shot lawyer. Works with Horizon on contracts. Word is, she and Marcus used to be a thing." Amara forced a neutral expression, taking a bite of her wrap. "Used to be, huh? Looks like she's not done yet." Lena smirked. "Girl, you clocking that? Spill, what's your deal with Marcus? I saw you zoning out earlier." Amara shook her head, swallowing. "No deal. Just met him once, helped him out. He's why I'm here." Jamal leaned in, eyes wide. "Wait, you know the CEO? Like personally?" "Not like that," Amara said quickly, her cheeks warming. "I paid for his Uber when he was stranded. He offered me this gig to say thanks." Lena's jaw dropped. "You paid for Marcus Wright's Uber? Girl, you're out here saving billionaires? I need your luck." Amara laughed, but her eyes drifted back to Marcus and Vanessa. He was greeting employees now, his smile easy, but Vanessa stayed close, her laugh carrying across the room. When Marcus's gaze swept the cafeteria, It landed on Amara for a split second, and she swore his smile deepened. Vanessa noticed, her eyes narrowing as they flicked to Amara, sizing her up like a hawk spotting prey. Amara held her stare, her chin lifting. She wasn't here to play games, but she wasn't backing down either. The rest of lunch passed in a blur of chatter, but Amara's mind was on Vanessa. If she was Marcus's ex, why was she still so cozy with him, and why did it bother her so much? She pushed the thought aside as they returned to the training room, diving into an afternoon of group exercises. Camille paired them up to design a mock marketing campaign, and Amara teamed with Lena and Jamal, their ideas flowing. Bright visuals, community-focused ads, a nod to Atlanta's Black and Latinx youth. Amara's design instincts kicked in, her sketches earning a nod from Camille. "Nice work, Johnson," Camille said, her red blazer a beacon as she paced the room. "You've got an eye. Keep pushing." Amara beamed, but Ethan Brooks, lounging at a nearby table, piped up. "Not bad for a beginner, but this is a diversity hire thing, right? No offense, just curious." The room stilled, heads turning. Lena sucked her teeth, muttering, "Here we go." Amara's smile faded, her pulse spiking. She'd dealt with guys like Ethan before, smug, quick to assume she didn't belong, but this wasn't Soul Haven, and she wasn't about to let him slide. "No offense taken, Ethan," she said, her voice steady but sharp. "But I'm here because I earned it." "If you're curious about my skills, let's put our campaigns head to head. I'll show you what I can do." Ethan blinked, caught off guard, and a few apprentices stifled laughs. Camille's lips twitched, but she stayed silent, letting Amara handle it. Ethan shrugged, mumbling, "Just asking." But the tension lingered. Amara's hands shook as she sat, anger and pride warring in her chest. She'd faced worse than Ethan, bosses who'd overlooked her, customers who'd sneered, but this felt different. Horizon was her shot, and she'd fight for it. As the session wrapped, Camille pulled Amara aside. "You held your own back there," she said, her gaze piercing. "This place isn't easy, especially for us. You got grit, but you'll need more than that. Stay sharp." Amara nodded, her resolve hardening. "I will, Miss Turner. Thanks for having my back." Camille smirked. "I don't have your back, Johnson. I'm teaching you to have your own." That night, Amara's shift at Soul Haven was brutal. The diner was slammed, and Ron was in a fouler mood than usual, barking about late orders. Tasha kept her spirits up, cracking jokes about their millionaire dreams now that Amara was at Horizon. "You're going to be sipping mimosas with the big shots soon," Tasha teased, balancing a tray of peach cobbler. "Just don't forget us little people." "Never," Amara said, grinning as she refilled a customer's coffee. But her mind was elsewhere. Ethan's jab, Vanessa's possessive vibe, Marcus's lingering glance. She was still processing when a familiar figure stepped into the diner, the bell above the door jingling. Marcus Wright, in a tailored gray suit, looked as out of place as a Rolex in a pawn shop. Heads turned, and Tasha nearly dropped her tray, whispering, "Is that him?" Amara's heart skipped. "Yeah," she muttered, smoothing her apron. "What's he doing here?" Marcus scanned the room, his eyes locking on her. He approached the counter, his smile warm, but with an edge of something deeper. "Amara," he said, his voice low enough to feel private despite the crowded diner. "Thought I'd check out your world. Smells amazing in here." She raised an eyebrow, trying to play it cool despite the flutter in her chest. "My world? It's greasy spoons and grumpy bosses." "You sure you're in the right zip code?" He chuckled, leaning on the counter, close enough for her to catch a hint of his cologne. Woodsy, expensive. "I'm exactly where I want to be. How's day one at Horizon?" "Intense," she said, pouring him a coffee he hadn't ordered. "Your people don't play around. Got a guy already thinking I'm just a quota fill." Marcus's jaw tightened, his eyes narrowing. "Who?" Don't worry about it, she said quickly, not wanting to seem like she was whining. I handled it. But I'm not here to coast, Marcus. I'm going to prove I belong. He studied her, his gaze softening. I know you will. And if anyone gives you trouble, you tell me. I don't play when it comes to my team. She smirked, sliding the coffee over. I fight my own battles, suit guy. But thanks. Their eyes held for a moment, the diner's noise fading into the background. Tasha, wiping a table nearby, mouthed, Girl, he's fine. And Amara shot her a look, biting back a laugh. Marcus sipped the coffee, grimacing slightly. This is strong. Welcome to Soul Haven, Amara said, grinning. Stick around. I'll get you some cornbread to make up for it. He laughed, the sound rich and unguarded. Deal. But seriously, Amara, you're doing great. I'll be watching. Not in a creepy way, he added, catching himself. Just rooting for you. She nodded, her throat tight. Appreciate it, Marcus. Now go before my boss docks my pay for chatting. He left a 20 on the counter, way too much for a coffee, and headed out, the bell jingling behind him. Tasha swooped in, fanning herself. Mara, that man is trouble with a capital T. You see how he looked at you, like you're the whole menu. Amara rolled her eyes, pocketing the 20. He's just being nice, Tasha. Don't start. But as she cleared the counter, her fingers brushed the spot where Marcus had leaned, and a warmth spread through her. Nice or not, Marcus Wright was stirring something in her, something she wasn't sure she could ignore. And with Vanessa Tate's shadow looming, and Ethan's doubts nipping at her heels, Amara knew this was only the beginning of a fight for her place, her heart, and the future she'd always dreamed of. The Atlanta skyline glowed against the dusk as Amara rode the bus home from Soul Haven, the neon lights of downtown fading into the familiar grid of Vine City. Her feet ached from the double shift, and her mind was a tangle of Marcus's unexpected visit, Ethan's smug jab, and the daunting reality of Horizon Tech's apprenticeship. The $20 Marcus had left for a $2 coffee burned a hole in her pocket, a reminder of his presence, his cologne, his low laugh, the way his eyes seemed to see right through her defenses. She leaned her head against the bus window, the cool glass grounding her. Get it together, Amara, she muttered. This ain't a rom-com. You got bills and a kid to think about. At her apartment, the stairwell smelled of Ms. Rosa's arroz con pollo, a comforting constant in the chaos of her day. She pushed open the door to find Mia curled up on the couch, fast asleep with a crayon still clutched in her hand, her superhero sketches scattered like confetti. Rosa looked up from her knitting, her silver hair catching the lamplight. Long night, Mia? She asked, her voice soft but probing. Amara sighed, kicking off her sneakers. Long everything, Rosa. Work, horizon, all of it. She scooped Mia into her arms, the girl's warmth easing the knot in her chest. Thanks for watching her. I owe you big. Rosa waved a hand, her bangles jangling. You owe me nothing but a story. What's this Horizon business? And don't give me that just a job nonsense. I see that spark in your eyes. Amara grinned, carrying Mia to bed. You're worse than Tasha, you know that? She tucked Mia in, brushing a braid from her daughter's face, then joined Rosa in the kitchen. Over a mug of chamomile tea, she spilled the basics, helping Marcus in the rain, the apprenticeship offer, the whirlwind of her first day. She skipped the part about Marcus's lingering gaze and Vanessa's possessive vibe, but Rosa's knowing look said she wasn't fooled. Sounds like a big chance, Rosa said, sipping her tea. But watch yourself, Amara. Men like that, rich, charming, they come with complications. I should know. I danced with a few in my flamenco days. Amara laughed, the tension in her shoulders loosening. I'm not dancing with anybody, Rosa. I'm just trying to keep up with this tech stuff and not let Mia down. Rosa patted her hand. You won't. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Now get some rest. Those corporate folks will eat you alive if you're not sharp." Amara nodded, but sleep didn't come easy. She lay in bed, the hum of the city filtering through her window, her mind replaying Marcus's words. "I'll be watching." Was he just being supportive, or was there something more? And Vanessa, her red dress, her sharp smile, felt like a storm cloud on the horizon. Amara rolled over, staring at Mia's superhero drawings taped to the wall. "For you, baby girl," she whispered. "All of this is for you." The next week at Horizon was a crash course in survival. The apprenticeship program was relentless. Mornings filled with software tutorials, afternoons tackling group projects, and evenings spent studying manuals until her eyes burned. Amara's design skills gave her an edge, her sketches for mock campaigns earning praise from Camille, but the tech side was a struggle. She'd never used project management tools like Asana or coded a line in her life, and every glitch felt like a personal failure. Lena was her lifeline, cracking jokes to keep her sane, while Jamal offered quiet tips during breaks. "You'll get it," he'd say, his smile steady. "Just takes time." Ethan Brooks, though, was a thorn in her side. He never missed a chance to needle her, his just curious questions laced with doubt. During a team exercise, when Amara suggested a campaign targeting Atlanta's underserved youth, he leaned back, smirking. "Nice idea, but is it scalable? I mean, you're new to this, right?" Amara's jaw tightened, but she kept her cool. "It's scalable if we partner with local schools and nonprofits," she said, sliding her tablet across the table with a mock-up. "I've got the numbers. 80% of kids in Vine City don't have access to tech programs. That's a market and a mission." Lena stifled a laugh, and even Camille raised an eyebrow, impressed. Ethan shrugged, muttering, "Worth a shot," but his eyes said he wasn't done testing her. Amara didn't care. She'd dealt with worse than his ego. Landlords who'd tried to cheat her, bosses who'd shorted her pay. If Ethan wanted a fight, she'd give him one. Her real spark came during a session on Horizon's community outreach. Camille showed slides of their initiatives, renovated libraries, job fairs for ex-inmates, and Amara's mind lit up. She thought of Mia, of the kids in Vine City who saw tech as a distant dream. When Camille asked for ideas, Amara's hand shot up. "What if Horizon sent employees to schools?" she said, her voice steady. "Not just donations, but real workshops, coding, design, stuff kids can touch. Show them people like us doing this work." Camille's lips curved. "I like it, Johnson. Flesh it out for next week. Call it what?" "Spark Tomorrow," Amara said, the name coming to her like a bolt, "because that's what we're giving them. A spark for their future." The room clapped, Lena nudging her with a grin. "You're out here changing lives, girl." But as Amara scribbled notes, a shadow crossed her mind. Ideas were one thing. Making them real in a place like Horizon, with its budgets and politics, was another. And Ethan's skeptical glance didn't help. That evening, Amara stayed late at Horizon, her tablet glowing in the empty training room as she drafted her Spark Tomorrow proposal. The city sparkled through the windows, Atlanta's skyline a mix of ambition and grit. She was deep in bullet points, volunteer training, school partnerships, when a knock startled her. Marcus stood in the doorway, his tie loosened, a takeout bag in hand. "Burning the midnight oil?" he asked, his voice warm, a hint of that rainy night vulnerability in his eyes. Amara's pulse quickened, but she played it cool, leaning back in her chair. "Somebody's got to keep up with your fancy tech, Marcus. What's in the bag?" He grinned, stepping inside. "Figured you might be hungry. Got some wings from J.R. Cricket's, best in Atlanta." She raised an eyebrow, amused. "You're bringing me wings? What, no caviar?" "Not my style," he said, setting the bag on the table. "Besides, I owe you for that coffee. And the Uber. They shared a laugh, the tension of the day melting as she opened the bag, the spicy aroma filling the room. They ate, trading stories, her about Mia's superhero obsession, him about growing up in a small Georgia town before tech took him to the top. His ease surprised her, his billionaire status fading as he licked sauce off his fingers, chuckling at her teasing. But when their hands brushed reaching for a napkin, a spark shot through her, and his eyes held hers, intense and unguarded. "Amara," he said, his voice low. "I meant what I said. You're special. Not just because of that night, but you, the way you carry yourself, your ideas. I see it." Her breath caught, the air between them charged. She wanted to lean in, to let the moment pull her under, but caution flared. "Marcus, I'm grateful, but I'm not here for favors. I've got a kid, a life. I can't afford to get distracted." He nodded, respect in his eyes. "I get it. No pressure. Just know I'm in your corner." She smiled, her heart racing as he stood to leave. "Thanks for the wingsuit, guy. Don't make it a habit." He laughed, pausing at the door. "No promises." The door clicked shut, and Amara exhaled, her fingers tingling where they'd touched. She was in deep, and she knew it. The next morning, Amara was back at Horizon, her Spark Tomorrow proposal taking shape. She presented a rough draft to Camille, who nodded approvingly. "This could be big, Johnson, but it needs budget numbers and buy-in from outreach. You ready to pitch it to the team?" Amara swallowed, nerves flaring. "Ready as I'll ever be." But trouble was brewing. At lunch, Lena pulled her aside, her face grim. "Words going around. Ethan's been talking, saying you're only getting traction because Marcus has a soft spot for you. And Vanessa's back." Amara's stomach dropped. She'd seen Vanessa once more, gliding through the office like she owned it, her red lipstick a warning flag. "What's she saying?" "Not sure," Lena said. "But she was in Marcus's office this morning, all smiles. Watch your back, Mara." Before Amara could respond, Vanessa herself appeared, her blonde hair sleek, her dress a deep emerald that screamed money. She approached their table, her smile sharp. "Amara, right?" she said, her voice honeyed but cold. "I hear you're making waves. Marcus always did have a thing for underdog stories." Amara's jaw clenched, but she matched Vanessa's smile. "I'm just doing my job, Ms. Tate. If Marcus likes my work, that's on me, not him." Vanessa's eyes narrowed, but she laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Of course. Just a friendly heads up. Marcus can be generous, but he doesn't stay long. Enjoy the spotlight while it lasts." She sauntered off, leaving Amara seething. Lena whistled low. "She's got it out for you, girl. What's the deal with you and Marcus?" "Nothing," Amara said too quickly. But Vanessa's words stung, planting doubt. Was Marcus's interest just pity, a fleeting whim? And Ethan's gossip wasn't helping. She needed to prove herself, not just to them, but to herself. Spark Tomorrow was her chance, but with Vanessa circling and Ethan undermining her, the stakes felt higher than ever. As she headed back to training, Amara's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Keep shining, Amara. I'm rooting for you." Marcus. Her heart skipped, but doubt crept in. Was he her ally, or was Vanessa right? She tucked the phone away, her resolve hardening. Whatever game was being played, she'd win it her way. For Mia, for Vine City, and for the spark she refused to let anyone dim. The Atlanta sun beat down on Vine City as Amara stepped off the bus, her thrift store blazer sticking to her skin. The weight of Vanessa Tate's words and Ethan Brooks's gossip clung to her like the humidity, but she pushed them aside, focusing on the rhythm of her sneakers on the cracked sidewalk. Her apartment building loomed ahead, its faded brick a familiar anchor. Inside, The stairwell smelled of Ms. Rosa's sofrito, and the faint hum of a neighbor's R&B radio drifted through the walls. Amara's phone buzzed again. Another text from Marcus. "Let me know if you need anything. I mean it." She stared at it, her thumb hovering over the screen, torn between gratitude and suspicion. Vanessa's warning echoed. He doesn't stay long. Amara tucked the phone away, muttering, "Focus, girl. This ain't about him." Mia was at the kitchen table when Amara walked in, her crayons a riot of color as she drew a superhero with a glittering gold cape. Ms. Rosa was chopping onions, her bangles clinking, her eyes sharp as she glanced up. "You're home early, mija. Trouble at that fancy job?" Amara forced a smile, kissing Mia's forehead. "No trouble, Rosa. Just a long day." She scooped Mia into a hug, the girl's giggle easing the knot in her chest. "How's my superhero doing?" "Captain Star's fighting aliens now," Mia said, holding up her drawing. "She's got a laser sword." "Laser sword, huh? That's my girl." Amara set Mia down, her heart swelling. Everything she was fighting for, horizon, spark, tomorrow, a better life, was for this moment, for Mia's dreams. She turned to Rosa, lowering her voice. "You got a minute? I need some of that old school wisdom." Rosa wiped her hands, smirking. "Wisdom's free, but you're washing these dishes later." They sat at the table, Mia humming as she colored. Amara spilled the day's drama, Ethan's snide comments, Vanessa's veiled threats, Marcus's texts. She skipped the part about the wings and that charged moment in the training room, but Rosa's raised eyebrow said she caught the vibe. "This Vanessa sounds like trouble," Rosa said, stirring her coffee. "And your Marcus. He's got his own agenda, whether it's his heart or his ego. You're playing a big game now, Amara. Keep your eyes open and your head clear." Amara nodded, sipping her own coffee, the bitter warmth grounding her. "I'm trying, Rosa, but it's like I'm walking a tightrope. One wrong step, and I'm done." Rosa leaned forward, her voice firm. "You're no stranger to tightropes. You've raised Mia, kept a roof over your head, all while smiling through the mess. You'll handle this. Just don't let that pretty billionaire distract you from what you came for." Amara laughed, the sound loosening the tension in her chest. "Pretty, huh? You're worse than Tasha." Rosa winked, her bangles glinting. "I'm old, not blind. Now go get some rest. You've got a war to win." The next few days at Horizon were a grind. Amara threw herself into her Spark Tomorrow proposal, sketching out volunteer workshops and crunching numbers with Lena's help. Camille was a tough mentor, pushing her to refine every detail, but her approval fueled Amara's drive. "You're onto something, Johnson," Camille said during a review, her red blazer a beacon in the training room. "But you need buy-in from outreach. Get ready to pitch it to the big dogs." Amara's stomach flipped. Pitching to Horizon's outreach team meant facing executives, people who could make or break her idea. And with Ethan still whispering doubts, she felt the pressure mounting. He'd toned down his jabs since her clapback, but his smirk said he was waiting for her to slip. Jamal noticed, pulling her aside during a break. "Don't let that fool get in your head," he said, his voice low. "You're killing it. Ethan's just mad you're outshining him." Amara managed a smile, grateful for the support. "Thanks, Jamal. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the prize." He grinned, his fade catching the light. "Prize being a corner office or that CEO who keeps popping up." She swatted his arm, laughing. "Boy, hush. Ain't nobody chasing Marcus." But Marcus was hard to ignore. He'd started dropping by the training sessions, his presence subtle but undeniable. A nod here, a quick word of encouragement there, always with that look, like he saw something in her no one else did. It stirred a warmth in her, but Vanessa's shadow loomed. Amara had spotted her twice more, gliding through the office in designer dresses, her laughter ringing as she leaned close to Marcus. Each time, Vanessa's eyes found Amara, sharp and calculating, like she was marking territory. The tension came to a head at a team meeting. Amara was presenting her latest Spark Tomorrow draft, her tablet projecting stats on Atlanta's underserved schools. The room was packed. Camille, Lena, Jamal, Ethan, and a few outreach staff, with Marcus observing from the back. Amara stood tall, her navy blouse tailored to fit, her curls loose and framing her face. She felt good, confident, until Ethan raised his hand, his tone dripping with fake curiosity. "Solid pitch, Amara," he said, leaning back. "But how do we know this isn't just a feel-good project? I mean, you're new, no tech background. Is this even feasible, or is it personal favoritism?" The room went quiet, the air thick with tension. Lena sucked her teeth, and Jamal shot Ethan a glare. Amara's blood boiled, but she kept her voice steady, her eyes locking on his. "If you're asking about feasibility, Ethan, I've got the numbers right here." She swiped her tablet, pulling up a budget breakdown. 80% of Vine City kids lack tech access. Horizon's got the resources, volunteers, software, reach. This isn't feel good. It's smart business and smarter impact. As for favoritism, I'm here because I earned it. Want to test me? Pick a project, and I'll run circles around you. A murmur of approval rippled through the room, and Lena whispered, "Get him, girl." Camille's lips twitched, and even Marcus's eyes gleamed with something like pride. Ethan faltered, mumbling, "Just checking." But the damage was done. He'd lost the room, and Amara felt a surge of triumph. She'd shut him down, but the sting of his words lingered. Was favoritism why Marcus was so invested? Vanessa's taunt echoed. "Enjoy the spotlight while it lasts." After the meeting, Marcus caught her in the hallway, his suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up. "Nice work in there," he said, his voice low, a smile playing on his lips. "You didn't just pitch. You owned the room." Amara's heart skipped, but she kept her tone light. "Had to. Can't let folks like Ethan think I'm here for a free ride." His smile faded, his jaw tightening. "Ethan's out of line. I'll talk to him." "No," she said quickly, stepping closer, her curls brushing her shoulders. "I fight my own battles, Marcus. Always have." He studied her, his gaze intense, like he was seeing her for the first time. "I know. But you don't have to do it alone." His voice dropped, and the space between them felt charged, the hallway's hum fading away. For a moment she thought he might reach for her, and part of her wanted him to, but footsteps echoed, and Vanessa appeared, her emerald dress a stark contrast to the sterile office. "Marcus, darling," Vanessa said, her voice smooth as silk. "We're late for the contract review." Her eyes flicked to Amara, cold and assessing. "Amara, wasn't it? Cute pitch. Very heartfelt." Amara's smile was all teeth. "Thanks, Ms. Tate. I aim to make an impact." Vanessa's laugh was sharp, and she looped her arm through Marcus's, pulling him away. "Come on, Marcus. We have real work to do." Marcus glanced back, his expression unreadable, and Amara's stomach twisted. She turned, heading to the training room, her resolve hardening. Vanessa could play her games, but Amara wasn't here to lose. Not her shot at Horizon, not her idea, and definitely not her heart. That night, Amara worked a late shift at Soul Haven, the diner's chaos a welcome distraction. Tasha was in rare form, flirting with a trucker for a $20 tip and teasing Amara about her billionaire boyfriend. "Girl, you're living a Hallmark movie," Tasha said, tossing a rag over her shoulder. "When's the part where he sweeps you off to Paris?" Amara laughed, scrubbing a counter. "More like sweeps me into a coding boot camp. Ain't no Paris in my future, Tasha." But the future was on her mind. A new worry had crept in. A medical bill for Mia's recent ear infection, $600 she didn't have. She'd been dodging the clinic's calls, but the debt loomed, making Horizon's promise of benefits feel like a lifeline. She needed Spark tomorrow to succeed, needed the apprenticeship to turn permanent. And Marcus. She couldn't deny the pull, the way his presence made her feel seen, alive. But Vanessa's words and Ethan's doubts were a cold splash of reality. Was she just a project to him? A charity case dressed up as opportunity? As she locked up the diner, her phone buzzed. An email from Camille. Johnson, Outreach wants a full pitch for Spark tomorrow next week. Bring your A game. Amara's heart raced, excitement and fear colliding. This was her chance to make Spark tomorrow real, to show Horizon and herself what she was made of, but the stakes were higher now. Vanessa was circling, Ethan was scheming, and Marcus was a question mark she couldn't afford to answer. She walked home under Vine City's streetlights, the Atlanta night warm and alive. A mural of MLK loomed on a brick wall, his eyes steady, like a reminder of the fights worth having. Amara touched the visitor's badge in her pocket, its weight a promise. Spark tomorrow wasn't just about kids, it was about proving she belonged, about building a world where Mia could dream without limits. And if Marcus was part of that world, she'd figure out what he meant to her. One step at a time. The Atlanta morning was thick with humidity, the kind that made Amara's curls frizz as she hustled Mia to the school bus stop. Vine City buzzed around them, kids on bikes weaving through the streets, old men sipping coffee on stoops, the faint pulse of a bass line from a passing car. Mia clutched her superhero sketchbook, her braids bouncing as she skipped. Mama, can we get ice cream after school? She asked, her gap-toothed grin lighting up the gray dawn. Amara smiled, adjusting Mia's backpack. If you ace that spelling test, we'll talk, superhero. Her heart tugged. Mia's joy was everything, but the $600 medical bill loomed like a shadow. She'd scraped together $50 from tips, but it wasn't enough. Horizon's apprenticeship, with its promise of benefits, was her lifeline, and Spark tomorrow was her ticket to making it permanent. She waved as Mia's bus pulled away, then caught her own bus to Midtown, her mind racing with pitch notes and Vanessa Tate's venomous smile. Horizon Tech's training center was a hive of activity when Amara arrived, her thrift store blazer swapped for a tailored blouse she'd sewn late at night. The outreach pitch for Spark tomorrow was days away, and she'd spent every spare moment refining it. Budget breakdowns, volunteer schedules, impact stats for Atlanta's schools. Lena and Jamal were her sounding board, their feedback sharpening her slides. You're gonna kill this, Mara, Lena said during a break, tossing her a granola bar. Those execs won't know what hit 'em. Amara grinned, unwrapping the bar. Hope so. I need this to work, Lena, for Mia. Jamal leaned in, his fade gleaming under the fluorescent lights. It will. Just watch out for Ethan. He's been cozying up to some outreach folks, probably trying to tank your pitch. Amara's jaw tightened. Ethan Brooks hadn't let up, his curious questions now laced with subtle digs about her lack of credentials. She'd caught him whispering with a suit from outreach yesterday, his smirk unmistakable. Let him try, she said, her voice steel. I'm not backing down. But Ethan wasn't her only problem. Vanessa Tate's presence was a constant hum, like static before a storm. Amara had seen her gliding through the office, her designer dresses a stark contrast to the tech-casual vibe. Each time, Vanessa's eyes found Amara, her smile a blade. Worse, Marcus seemed caught in her orbit, their meetings behind closed doors, fueling whispers. Amara tried to ignore it, but Vanessa's warning, he doesn't stay long, gnawed at her, especially when Marcus's texts came less often, his visits to training sessions replaced by quick nods in the hall. Still, Marcus found ways to reach her. During a late-night study session in the training room, Amara was buried in her pitch when a delivery guy dropped off a coffee and a note. Fuel for the fight. You've got this. M. She smiled, tracing the handwriting, but doubt crept in. Was he genuinely rooting for her? Or was Vanessa right about his fleeting interest? She sipped the coffee, its warmth steadying her, and dove back into her slides, determined to prove herself. To Horizon, to Marcus, to everyone. The day of the outreach pitch arrived like a thunderclap. Amara stood in Horizon's conference room, her tablet synced to a massive screen, her navy dress hugging her curves, curls loose and framing her face. The room was packed. Camille, outreach execs, Lena, Jamal, Ethan, and at the back, Marcus, his suit crisp, his eyes locked on her. Vanessa was there too, perched near an exec, her red lipstick a warning flag. Amara's pulse raced, but she channeled it, her voice steady as she launched into Spark Tomorrow. Atlanta's kids deserve a future in tech, she began, her slides crisp with stats and visuals. 80% of Vine City students lack access to coding programs. Spark Tomorrow brings Horizon employees into schools, workshops on coding, design, robotics. It's not just charity, it's investment. These kids are your next engineers, your next innovators. She walked them through the plan, volunteer training, partnerships with schools like Hillside Elementary, a budget leveraging Horizon's existing resources. Her design sketches popped on the screen, vibrant and grounded in Atlanta's culture. The execs nodded, scribbling notes, and Camille's smile was a quiet anchor. But Ethan raised his hand, his tone smooth as venom. "Impressive, Amara," he said, leaning forward. "But let's be real. Running a program like this takes experience. You're new, no degree. How do we trust you won't drop the ball?" The room tensed, Lena's eyes narrowing. Amara's blood surged, but she kept her cool, her smile sharp. "Experience isn't just a diploma, Ethan. I've juggled 2 jobs, raised a kid, and built this pitch while learning your systems in weeks. My numbers are solid. $50,000 startup cost, scalable to 10 schools in year 1. Trust me because I've done the work. Want to challenge that? I'm ready." A murmur of approval rippled through, and Jamal whispered, "Go off, Mara." Ethan faltered, his smirk fading, but Vanessa's laugh cut through, light and cutting. "Passionate," she said, her eyes on Amara. "But passion doesn't guarantee execution. Marcus, you're awfully quiet. Thoughts?" All eyes turned to Marcus, and Amara's heart thudded. He leaned back, his gaze steady, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "I think Amara's plan is bold, feasible, and exactly what Horizon needs. Passion and execution. She's got both. I say greenlight it." The room erupted in nods, Camille clapping first. Amara exhaled, triumph flooding her, but Vanessa's smile tightened, her eyes promising trouble. As the meeting wrapped, Marcus caught Amara's arm, his touch warm. "You were incredible," he said, his voice low, meant for her alone. "I knew you had it in you." Her skin tingled where his hand lingered, but she stepped back, cautious. "Thanks, Marcus, but I did this for the kids, not for applause." His smile softened, respect in his eyes. "I know. That's why I believe in you." Vanessa appeared, her perfume sharp, her arm brushing Marcus's. "Great show, Amara," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Marcus, we're late for dinner. Shall we?" He hesitated, glancing at Amara, but nodded. "Right. Congrats again, Amara." They left, Vanessa's heels clicking, and Amara's triumph soured. Was Marcus playing both sides, or was Vanessa manipulating the narrative? She didn't know, but the victory of her pitch felt fragile, overshadowed by the game she hadn't signed up for. That night, Amara needed to clear her head. Tasha and Lena dragged her to a salsa club in Little 5 Points, a gritty pocket of Atlanta where neon signs and street art collided. The club was alive with Latin beats, the air thick with sweat and mojitos, Amara wore a red dress she'd sewn, its hem flaring as she moved, her curls bouncing free. "Come on, Mara, shake it," Tasha yelled, already twirling with a stranger on the dance floor. Amara laughed, sipping a soda, her nerves unwinding. Jamal joined them, his easy grin a welcome sight. "Yo, you killed that pitch," he said, leaning close to be heard over the music. "Want to dance? Show these folks how Vine City moves?" She hesitated, then grinned. "All right, Carter, let's see if you can keep up." They hit the floor, salsa steps flowing as Jamal spun her, her dress flaring, her laughter ringing. The music pulsed through her, a release from Ethan's jabs, Vanessa's games, Marcus's pull. For a moment, she was just Amara, free, alive, unstoppable. Then she saw him. Marcus stood by the bar, his suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, his eyes locked on her. The crowd faded, the music a distant hum as he crossed the room, his stride purposeful. "Mind if I cut in?" he asked Jamal, his voice low, a smile tugging at his lips. Jamal grinned, stepping back. "She's all yours, boss." Amara's breath caught as Marcus took her hand, his touch electric. The music shifted to a slower beat, and he pulled her close, one hand on her waist, the other guiding her steps. "Didn't expect to see you here," she said, trying to keep her voice steady, her body hyper-aware of his warmth. "Needed a break," he said, his eyes dark, intense. "And I heard this place had the best dancers in Atlanta. Guess I found the best one." She laughed, her curls brushing his shoulder. "Flattery won't get you far, suit guy. What's the real reason you're here?" His hand tightened on her waist, his voice dropping. "You, Amara. I can't stop thinking about you, your fire, your heart. I know I come with baggage, but I'm here because I want to be." Her heart pounded, the world narrowing to his touch, his breath. They swayed, the salsa beat urging them closer, and when his lips grazed her ear, a shiver ran through her. "Marcus," she whispered, "I've got Mia, a life. I can't afford to get this wrong." "I know," he said, pulling back to meet her eyes. "I'm not asking for promises, just a chance to show you I'm real." The song ended, but they stood frozen, the air crackling. Then Tasha's voice broke the spell, yelling, "Mara, you trying to make us all jealous?" Amara laughed, stepping back, her skin still buzzing. Marcus smiled, brushing her hand. "See you at Horizon," he said, and left, the crowd swallowing him. Back at home, Amara couldn't sleep, the memory of Marcus's touch searing her. But doubt crept in. Vanessa's warnings, the medical bill, Ethan's sabotage. The next day, an email from Outreach confirmed Spark Tomorrow was moving to a pilot phase, but with a catch. Budget cuts threatened the apprenticeship program itself. If it folded, her job and her dreams were at risk. And Vanessa was up to something. Lena had overheard her talking to an exec about reallocating resources. Amara sat at her kitchen table, Mia's drawings scattered around her, and made a choice. She'd fight for Spark Tomorrow, for Horizon, for Mia. And Marcus, if he was real, he'd have to prove it, because her heart wasn't a game. But as she opened her laptop, a new email popped up. An anonymous message. "Careful, Amara. Marcus isn't who you think. Ask about his past." Her blood ran cold. Vanessa's doing, or something deeper. The fight was getting dirtier, and Amara was ready to play. The Atlanta night was alive with possibility as Amara stepped out of the salsa club, the Latin beat still pulsing in her veins. The neon glow of little 5 Points bathed the street in color, street artists hawking their wares, and the air thick with the scent of grilled corn from a nearby food truck. Her red dress clung to her curves, its hem swaying as she walked, her curls bouncing free. Tasha and Lena flanked her, their laughter a shield against the weight of the day. Vanessa's schemes, Ethan's sabotage, the anonymous email warning her about Marcus. But Marcus's touch on the dance floor, his whispered promise, just a chance to show you I'm real, had lit a fire in her she couldn't ignore. Her skin still tingled where his hand had rested, and her heart wrestled with the thrill and danger of letting him in. "Girl, you and that billionaire were smoking out there," Tasha said, fanning herself as they headed to the bus stop. "I'm calling it now. You're going to be Mrs. Right by Christmas." Amara rolled her eyes, but a smile tugged at her lips. "Tasha, you're wild. It was one dance, not a proposal." Lena smirked, nudging her. "One dance with enough heat to melt the floor. You see how he looked at you, Mara? Like you're the only one in the room." Amara's cheeks warmed. The memory of Marcus's eyes, dark, intense, stirring her. He's just intense, y'all. Doesn't mean it's real. And with Vanessa sniffing around, I'm not trying to get played. Tasha sucked her teeth. "Vanessa's just mad she can't keep up. You're Vine City royalty, Mara. Own it." Amara laughed, the sound easing the knot in her chest. But as the bus rumbled toward Vine City, her phone buzzed. A new email from Camille. "Johnson, Outreach loved your pitch. Pilot approved, but budget's tight. Plan a Day Horizon event to seal the deal. 1 week." Her heart leapt. Spark Tomorrow was alive, but a showcase event meant more pressure, more eyes, and more chances for Ethan or Vanessa to derail her. She tucked the phone away, her mind racing. She'd make it happen. For Mia, for the kids, for herself. And Marcus. She'd deal with him when the time came. Back at her apartment, Amara slipped in quietly, the creak of the stairs a familiar lullaby. Mia was asleep, her superhero sketches scattered across the couch, and Ms. Rosa was dozing with a half-knit scarf in her lap. Amara covered Rosa with a blanket, then carried Mia to bed, kissing her forehead. "We're getting there, baby girl," she whispered, tucking the blanket around her daughter's small frame. The $600 medical bill sat on her dresser, a silent taunt. But Horizon's pilot approval felt like a lifeline. If Day Horizon worked, she could secure her spot, maybe even a raise to cover the debt. Sleep was fitful, her dreams a tangle of Marcus's hands, Vanessa's smirk, and a faceless email sender whispering warnings. The anonymous message, ask about his past, gnawed at her. Was it Vanessa's petty game, or something deeper? She woke to Mia's chatter, the girl bouncing with excitement over her spelling test. "I got all 10 words, Mama," Mia said, waving a gold star sticker. "Ice cream time?" Amara grinned, pulling her into a hug. "You earned it, superhero. After school, we'll hit the corner store." The promise lifted her spirits, but the day ahead loomed, planning Day Horizon, dodging Ethan, and navigating Marcus's pull. She dressed in a thrifted skirt and blouse, her curls tied back, and headed to Horizon, her tablet loaded with ideas. The training room was abuzz when she arrived, apprentices prepping for their next projects. Lena greeted her with a fist bump. "Heard about the pilot, Mara. You're out here making moves." Amara smiled, setting up her tablet. "Trying to. This Day Horizon thing's gonna be big, but I need all hands on deck." Jamal slid into a chair beside her, his grin infectious. "Count me in. What's the vibe? Kids? Tech? What?" "Kids from Hillside Elementary," Amara said, pulling up her plan. "We bring them to Horizon, show them coding, design, maybe a 3D printer. Make it fun, real, so Outreach sees the impact." Lena nodded, scribbling notes. "Love it. I'll handle logistics, buses, snacks. You focus on the wow factor." Their planning was interrupted by Camille, her red blazer cutting through the room. "Johnson, a word." Amara followed her to a quiet corner, nerves flaring. Camille's gaze was steady but warm. Outreach is impressed, but the budget cuts are real. Day Horizon needs to be flawless, or Spark Tomorrow stalls. You're leading this, but you've got enemies. Watch your back. Amara's stomach twisted. Ethan? And others, Camille said, her voice low. You're a threat to the status quo. Keep your work tight and don't let personal distractions derail you. Amara nodded, Camille's warning echoing Rose's. Marcus was a distraction, no question, but one she couldn't shake. I'm on it, Ms. Turner. This is for the kids. Camille's lips curved. Good. Now go make it happen. The week was a blur of preparation. Amara rallied Lena, Jamal, and a few other apprentices, turning Day Horizon into a showcase of tech and heart. They booked Hillside Elementary, secured a bus, and planned hands-on stations, coding games, design apps, even a drone demo. Amara's design skills shone, her posters and slides capturing Atlanta's vibrant spirit. But Ethan hovered, his helpful suggestions laced with doubt. Drones for kids? Hope you've got insurance, he said during a planning session, his smirk grating. Amara shot back. Got it covered, Ethan. Worry about your own project. Lena stifled a laugh, but Ethan's eyes narrowed, promising trouble. Vanessa was a bigger wild card. Amara overheard her in the cafeteria, her voice syrupy as she told an exec. Amara's project is sweet, but risky. We might need to redirect funds to safer bets. The words hit like a punch, but Amara kept her cool, channeling her anger into work. She wouldn't let Vanessa's games kill Spark Tomorrow. Marcus, meanwhile, was a quiet force. He didn't crowd her, but his support was steady, emails checking in, a catered lunch for the planning team with a note. For Amara's crew, keep shining. M. Each gesture warmed her, but the anonymous email lingered, sowing doubt. She needed answers, but Day Horizon came first. The night before the event, Amara was drowning in last-minute details when Marcus appeared in the training room, his tie gone, sleeves rolled up. Still at it? He asked, leaning against the doorframe, his smile softening the room's fluorescent glare. Amara looked up, her curls falling loose from their bun. Gotta be perfect, Marcus. Too much riding on this. He crossed the room, pulling up a chair. It will be. You've got a gift, Amara, making people believe in something bigger. I saw it that night in the rain, and I see it now. Her heart skipped, his words cutting through her defenses. Why do you keep saying stuff like that? She asked, her voice soft but searching. What's your deal, Marcus? Really? He leaned closer, his eyes dark, unguarded. My deal is you. I've built a lot. Horizon, wealth. But I've lost things too. My brother, years ago, to a system that didn't care. You remind me why I started this, why I fight. I'm not here to play games, Amara. I'm here because I'm falling for you. The air crackled, her breath catching. She wanted to push back, to protect herself, but his honesty disarmed her. Marcus, I've got Mia, bills, a life, and Vanessa. She's got her claws in you, doesn't she? His jaw tightened. Vanessa's my past. We dated, ended badly. She's trying to stir things up, but I'm done with her. I swear. Amara searched his eyes, wanting to believe him. The room felt too small, his presence overwhelming. He reached for her hand, his thumb brushing her knuckles, and she didn't pull away. I don't know if I can do this, she whispered, but her body leaned toward him, drawn like a magnet. Then let me show you, he said, standing and pulling her up. He guided her to the window, Atlanta's skyline glittering below. His hands found her waist, his breath warm against her neck as he murmured, You're not alone in this, Amara. Not anymore. She turned, their faces inches apart, the city's glow framing them. His lips brushed hers, tentative at first, then deepening as she melted into him, her hands gripping his shirt. The kiss was fire, hungry, urgent, his fingers tracing her spine through her blouse, her curves pressing against him. She tasted salt and coffee, felt the heat of his skin, and for a moment, the world was just them, the skyline, the pulse of something new. But Mia's face flashed in her mind, and she pulled back, breathless. "Marcus, I can't. Not yet. I need to know this is real." He nodded, his eyes fierce with promise. "It is. I'll wait, Amara. As long as it takes." She stepped away, her skin still humming, and grabbed her tablet. "I've got an event to nail. Don't distract me, suit guy." He laughed, the sound easing the tension. "Wouldn't dream of it. Knock 'em dead tomorrow." Day Horizon dawned bright and chaotic. Hillside Elementary kids poured into Horizon's lobby, their chatter filling the air as Amara, Lena, and Jamal guided them to stations. Coding games lit up tablets, design apps sparked giggles, and a drone whizzed overhead, drawing gasps. Amara was everywhere, checking schedules, soothing a shy kid, tweaking a glitchy screen. Her red dress, a bold choice, caught eyes, and Lena whispered, "You're slaying, Mara." The execs arrived, Camille among them, their nods a quiet approval. Marcus was there too, his suit sharp, his smile proud as he watched Amara work. But Vanessa lingered, her emerald dress a stark contrast, her eyes tracking Amara like a predator. Ethan, meanwhile, hovered near an outreach suit, whispering something that made the man frown. The event was a hit, kids beaming, execs clapping, Camille pulling Amara aside to say, "You've got something special, Johnson. Keep it up." But as the kids boarded their bus, Vanessa approached, her smile venomous. "Cute event," she said, her voice low. "But Marcus's little projects don't last. Ask him about his brother, see how honest he is." Amara's blood ran cold, the anonymous email flashing in her mind. She faced Vanessa, her voice steady. "If you've got something to say it. I'm not scared of you." Vanessa laughed, walking away, but her words struck deep. Amara glanced at Marcus, laughing with a kid, and doubt crept in. What was he hiding? Spark tomorrow was safe for now, but her heart was on shakier ground. She needed answers, and she'd get them. After she secured her future, the Atlanta skyline shimmered through Amara's apartment window, a tapestry of ambition and grit that mirrored her own heart. It was late, the Vine City night quiet except for the distant hum of a neighbor's radio playing Marvin Gaye. Mia slept soundly, her superhero sketches tucked under her pillow, and Ms. Rosa had gone home, leaving Amara alone with her thoughts. The triumph of Day Horizon still buzzed in her veins. Kids' laughter, execs' applause, Camille's rare smile. But Vanessa's parting shot had lodged like a splinter. Ask him about his brother. The anonymous email echoed it, a warning she couldn't shake. Amara sat at her kitchen table, her laptop open to spark tomorrow notes, but her mind was on Marcus, his kiss, his promise, the shadow of his past. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from the spiral. A text from Marcus. "You were unstoppable today. Proud of you. Can we talk?" Her thumb hovered over the screen, her pulse quickening. That kiss in his office, his hands on her waist, had been a fire she hadn't expected, burning through her defenses. But Vanessa's words, Ethan's sabotage, and the medical bills still sitting unpaid on her dresser were cold reality. She typed back, busy with work. "Tomorrow?" His reply was instant. "Anytime you're ready, I'm here." The words warmed her, but doubt lingered. What was he hiding? And could she trust her heart to find out? Amara closed her laptop, exhaustion tugging at her. She needed to stay sharp. Outreach had greenlit Spark Tomorrow for a pilot, but budget cuts still threatened the apprenticeship program. If it folded, her job, her benefits, her chance to clear Mia's medical debt would vanish. And Vanessa was out there, scheming, her influence a quiet poison. Amara touched Mia's gold star sticker, taped to the fridge from her spelling test, and whispered, "We're not losing this baby girl." Tomorrow she'd face Marcus, demand answers, and keep her eyes on the prize. Morning broke with a golden haze, Atlanta waking under a sky streaked with promise. Amara dropped Mia at school, the girls' chatter about ice cream and superheroes a balm to her nerves. "You're gonna get that big job, right, Mama?" Mia asked, clutching her backpack. Amara knelt, kissing her forehead. "Working on it, superhero. Now go ace that math quiz." Mia's grin carried her onto the bus, and Amara boarded her own, her thrift store skirt and blouse a quiet armor. Horizon Tech awaited, and with it, a reckoning. The training room was a flurry of post-event buzz, apprentices dissecting Day Horizon and prepping for their next projects. Lena greeted Amara with a hug, her eyes gleaming. "Girl, you made those kids' day. Outreach is eating it up. You're a star." Amara smiled, setting up her tablet. "Team effort, Lena. Couldn't have done it without you and Jamal." Jamal slid into a chair, his grin wide. "Facts. But you're the one who sold it. Ethan's been quiet since. Bet he's shook." Amara's lips twitched, but her mind was elsewhere. Ethan was a nuisance, but Vanessa was the real threat, and Marcus. She needed clarity. Camille swept in, her red blazer a beacon, and called the group to order. "Great work on Day Horizon," she said, her gaze landing on Amara. "Pilots funded, but the apprenticeship program's still on thin ice. Keep delivering, or we're all out." The room sobered, and Amara's resolve hardened. She spent the morning refining Spark Tomorrow logistics, coordinating with Hillside Elementary for the first workshops. But her focus wavered, Vanessa's warning looping in her head. During a break, she slipped to the cafeteria, hoping to clear her mind, only to freeze. Vanessa was there, laughing with an outreach exec, her blonde hair catching the light, her dress a deep sapphire that screamed power. Her eyes met Amara's, and her smile sharpened, like a cat spotting a mouse. Amara held her stare, grabbing a coffee and joining Lena at a table. "She's everywhere," she muttered, nodding toward Vanessa. "What's her deal?" Lena leaned in, her voice low. "Word is, she's pushing to redirect Spark Tomorrow funds to some AI project. Says it's higher impact. She's got pull with the board, Mara. Watch out." Amara's grip tightened on her cup. Vanessa wasn't just after Marcus. She was gunning for her dream. Before she could respond, a shadow fell over the table. Marcus stood there, his suit jacket off, his presence commanding yet warm. "Amara, got a minute?" he asked, his eyes searching hers. Lena raised an eyebrow, smirking. "I'll catch you later, Mara." She left, and Amara stood, her heart pounding as she followed Marcus to a quiet corner of the cafeteria, the city's skyline framing them through the windows. "What's up?" she asked, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. His cologne, woodsy, rich, stirred memories of their kiss, and she fought to stay focused. He leaned against the wall, his gaze intense. "I wanted to check in. Day Horizon was a home run, but I know it's been tough. Ethan, the budget cuts, Vanessa, I've been talking to the board, pushing to protect Spark Tomorrow. It's your vision, Amara, and I believe in it. In you." Her throat tightened, his words a mix of comfort and complication. "Why, Marcus? Why go so hard for me? I'm just a waitress from Vine City. What's this really about?" He stepped closer, his voice low, raw. "It's about you changing me. I told you about my brother. Losing him broke something in me. Horizon was my way out. But it's been about profit, not people. You reminded me why I started. Heart, purpose. And yeah, I'm falling for you, Amara. Hard. But I'm not pushing you. I just want you to know I'm all in." Her breath hitched, his honesty stripping her bare. She wanted to believe him, to let herself fall, but the email, Vanessa's taunt, held her back. "Marcus, someone sent me a message, said to ask about your past, about your brother. What aren't you telling me?" His face tightened, pain flashing in his eyes. "My brother, James, died in prison," he said, his voice rough. "Wrongly convicted, a system that didn't care. I couldn't save him. It's why I fight for second chances, why I saw you that night in the rain and knew you were different. That's the truth, Amara. If there's more, I'll tell you, when you're ready to hear it." She searched his eyes, seeing grief, sincerity, but also a shadow of something unspoken. Before she could press, Vanessa's voice cut through, sharp and syrupy. "Marcus, darling, we're late for the board call." She stood nearby, her sapphire dress gleaming, her smile a blade. Marcus nodded, but his eyes stayed on Amara. "We'll talk later," he said, and left, Vanessa's arm brushing his as they walked away. Amara's stomach twisted, doubt and desire warring within her. She needed to focus on Spark tomorrow, on Mia, but Marcus was unraveling her, and she wasn't sure she could stop it. That evening, Amara needed an escape. Tasha and Lena insisted on another night out, this time at a karaoke bar in East Atlanta, a dive with sticky floors and a jukebox vibe. Amara wore a black dress she'd sewn, its neckline daring, her curls cascading free. The bar was packed, the air thick with laughter and off-key singing. Tasha took the mic first, belting a shaky rendition of Beyoncé's Love on Top, earning cheers and a few playful boos. "Your turn, Mara," Lena yelled, shoving a mic at her. Amara laughed, nerves tingling. But the day's weight, Vanessa's schemes, Marcus's confession, pushed her to let go. She picked an Aretha Franklin classic, Respect, and poured herself into it, her voice raw but strong, the crowd hooting as she swayed, her dress catching the stage lights. Jamal was there, clapping loudest, his grin wide. "That's how you do it, Vine City." After he pulled her to the dance floor, the bar's DJ spinning a mix of hip-hop and soul. "You good, Mara?" he asked, spinning her, his hands light but steady. "You seem heavy," she smiled, catching her breath. "Just a lot on my mind. Work, life, you know." He nodded, his eyes kind. "I get it. But you're a force, Amara. Don't let nobody dim that." The words hit deep, and when the music slowed, Jamal offered another spin. But a familiar figure caught her eye. Marcus, standing by the bar, his shirt unbuttoned at the collar, his gaze locked on her. Her heart leapt, and Jamal, sensing it, stepped back with a grin. "Go handle your business, Queen." Marcus crossed the room, the crowd parting as he reached her. "Didn't expect to see you owning a stage," he said, his smile teasing but warm. "You're full of surprises." She raised an eyebrow, her dress shimmering under the lights. "And you're full of coincidences, suit guy. What's this, your third random appearance?" He laughed, stepping closer, the music a low pulse. "Not random. I needed to see you. Can we dance?" She hesitated, Vanessa's warning flashing, but his eyes, open, earnest, drew her in. "One dance," she said, and he took her hand, pulling her into a slow sway. The bar faded, the world narrowing to his touch, his breath warm against her ear. His hand slid to her lower back, firm but gentle, and she felt every inch of him, his strength, his heat. Her dress hugged her curves, and his fingers grazed her bare shoulder, sending a shiver through her. "Amara," he murmured, his lips brushing her neck, a whisper of a kiss that set her skin alight. "I meant what I said. I'm yours if you want me." Her body leaned into him, her hands gripping his shirt, the music urging her closer. His lips found hers, a slow, searing kiss that deepened as she melted, her fingers tangling in his hair. His hands roamed, tracing her spine, pulling her flush against him. The world a blur of heat and rhythm. She tasted whiskey and want, felt the press of his chest, and for a moment she let herself fall, into him, into the possibility of us. But Mia's face flashed, the medical bill, the email. She pulled back, breathless, her lips tingling. "Marcus, I want this, but I need time. There's too much I don't know." He nodded, his eyes fierce with understanding. "Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." Tasha's voice broke the spell, yelling, "Mara, you trying to start a fire?" The crowd laughed, and Amara stepped back, her heart racing. Marcus squeezed her hand, then left, his silhouette fading into the bar's haze. She rejoined Tasha and Lena, their teasing a welcome distraction, but her body hummed with his touch, her mind a storm of desire and doubt. The next day, Horizon was a pressure cooker. Camille called Amara to her office, her expression grave. Spark Tomorrow's pilot is funded, but the apprenticeship program's on the chopping block. One exec's pushing to cut it for an AI initiative. You know who's behind it. Amara's blood ran cold. Vanessa, Camille nodded. She's got board members in her pocket. Your event bought you time, but you need to lock in Outreach's support. And Marcus, he's fighting for you, but his influence has limits. Stay focused. Amara left, her resolve steel. She'd confront Marcus about his brother, about the email, but first, she'd secure Spark Tomorrow. As she worked, a new email landed, an invitation to present the pilot to the full board in 2 days. Her biggest stage yet, and her last chance to save her future. But Vanessa's shadow loomed, and Marcus's secrets weighed heavy. Amara touched Mia's gold star on her phone's lock screen, whispering, "For you, baby girl." The fight was far from over, and she was ready to win. The Atlanta dawn painted Vine City in soft gold, the neighborhood stirring with the clatter of garbage trucks and the chatter of kids heading to school. Amara stood at her kitchen counter, brewing coffee strong enough to jolt her awake, her eyes gritty from a sleepless night. The board presentation for Spark Tomorrow loomed like a mountain, her final chance to secure the pilot, her job, and a future free of medical bills and diner shifts. Mia's laughter drifted from the living room, where she was coloring a new superhero, this one with a crown like Amara's curls. "Mama, you gonna be a boss today?" Mia asked, her gap-toothed grin a beacon. Amara smiled, pouring coffee into a chipped mug. "Trying, superhero. Gotta show some big shots what we're made of." She kissed Mia's forehead, tucking her sketchbook into her backpack. The $600 medical bill sat on the counter, a silent spur, but Day Horizon's success and Marcus's support gave her hope. His kiss at the karaoke bar, slow, searing, his hands pulling her close, still burned in her memory. But Vanessa's taunt and the anonymous email, ask about his past, cast a shadow. Marcus had opened up about his brother's death, but was there more? Today she'd face the board, then him. No more secrets. She dropped Mia at school, the bus's squeak fading as she caught her own to Midtown. Her red dress, sewn for Day Horizon, was her armor, its fit bold but professional, her curls loose and framing her face. Horizon Tech's tower gleamed under the morning sun, its glass facade a mirror to her resolve. The lobby buzzed with employees, their chatter a hum as Amara rode the elevator to the boardroom floor, her tablet clutched like a lifeline. Lena texted her, "You got this, Queen. Shut it down." Amara smiled, but nerves churned. Vanessa's influence, Ethan's scheming, and Marcus's unspoken truths were landmines she'd have to navigate. The boardroom was a sleek expanse of mahogany and glass, Atlanta's skyline sprawling through the windows. The board, 10 execs in suits, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism, sat around a polished table, Camille among them, her red blazer a quiet nod of support. Marcus was there, his navy suit crisp, his eyes locking on Amara with a warmth that steadied her. Vanessa sat near an older exec, her emerald dress a stark contrast, her smile sharp as she whispered something that made the man nod. Ethan lingered at the back, his smirk subtle but present. Amara took a breath, channeling Mia's fearless grin, and stepped to the front, her slides ready. "Good morning," she began, her voice clear, commanding. "I'm Amara Johnson, and Spark Tomorrow is more than a program. It's a promise. 80% of kids in Vine City lack tech access. Horizon can change that, not with handouts, but with hands-on workshops, coding, design, robotics. We're building dreamers who'll become your next innovators." Her slides were a masterclass. Vibrant visuals, tight budgets, data on student outcomes. She walked them through the pilot. 5 schools, 200 kids, $75,000 startup cost, scalable to 20 schools in 3 years. Day Horizon photos flashed, kids coding, laughing, eyes wide with wonder. "This isn't just impact," she said, her voice rising. "It's legacy. Horizon's name on every kid who dares to dream big." The board leaned in, scribbling notes, a few nodding. Camille's smile was subtle but proud, but Vanessa raised a hand, her tone smooth as venom. "Inspiring, Amara, but with budget constraints, can we justify this over, say, AI innovation? Your passion's clear, but execution requires experience you lack." Amara's pulse spiked, but she held Vanessa's gaze, her smile sharp. "Experience isn't just years, Ms. Tate. It's results. I've rallied volunteers, secured school partnerships, and delivered Day Horizon on a shoestring. Our pilot's ROI is projected at 3-1, community goodwill, talent pipeline, brand equity. AI's vital, but kids are the future. I've got the numbers to back it." She swiped her tablet, pulling up a cost-benefit analysis, her voice steady. "If you want execution, I'm your proof." A murmur of approval rippled, and Lena, watching from the back, stifled a cheer. Marcus's eyes gleamed, his nod subtle but firm. Vanessa's smile tightened, and Ethan's smirk faded. An exec, a gray-haired woman, spoke up. "Impressive, Ms. Johnson. How do you ensure volunteer retention?" Amara was ready. "Structured training, flexible schedules, and a backup roster. I've run shifts at a diner for years. Trust me, I know how to keep a team moving." The room chuckled, the tension easing. Questions followed, tough but fair, and Amara answered each, her confidence growing. When she finished, the board clapped, Camille leading the charge. Marcus stood, his voice cutting through. "I move to fully fund Spark Tomorrow and appoint Amara as pilot coordinator, effective immediately." The board voted. Unanimous approval. Amara exhaled, triumph flooding her. She'd done it. Secured Spark Tomorrow, saved the apprenticeship, earned her place. Camille shook her hand, whispering, "You're a force, Johnson." But as the room cleared, Vanessa approached, her eyes cold. "Congrats, Amara, but Marcus's pets don't last. Enjoy it while it's yours." She slipped a folded note into Amara's hand and left, her heels clicking like a countdown. Amara unfolded it, her heart sinking. A printed email, anonymous, detailed Marcus's brother's conviction, drug charges, a plea deal, a death in prison. But it hinted at more. He hid evidence to protect his family name. Ask him. Her stomach churned. Was this Vanessa's final play, or the truth? That evening, Amara confronted Marcus in his office, the city's lights casting shadows across his desk. He looked tired, his tie gone, but his eyes softened as she entered. "You were phenomenal today," he said, standing. Horizon's lucky to have you." She didn't smile, holding up the note. "What's this, Marcus? Your brother? Did you hide something? I need the truth now." His face fell, pain etching his features. "Amara, I told you James was wrongly convicted. The system failed him. Bad lawyer, biased judge. I was young, starting Horizon, and I paid for his defense, but I didn't dig deeper. I should have fought harder. That's my regret, not some cover-up." "Vanessa's twisting it to hurt us." She searched his eyes, seeing grief, guilt, but no deception. "Why didn't you tell me everything?" "Because I was ashamed," he said, stepping closer. "And because I love you, Amara. I didn't want my past to scare you away." Her breath caught, his words a thunderbolt. Love. She'd felt it too, in his touch, his fight for her. "Marcus, I love you too," she said, her voice breaking. "But I've got Mia, a life. If there's more, I need to know." He took her hands, his grip steady. "There's nothing more. I'm yours. All of me. Let me prove it." She nodded, tears pricking her eyes, and he pulled her close, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both promise and plea. It was softer than before, but no less intense, his hands framing her face, her fingers clutching his shirt. They pulled back, foreheads touching, the city's glow wrapping them in possibility. "We'll figure it out," she whispered, "but no more secrets." "No more," he said, his smile fierce. "You and Mia, you're my future." Amara celebrated at home, the apartment filled with warmth and laughter. Tasha, Lena, Jamal, and Ms. Rosa crowded around her tiny table, plates piled with fried chicken and cornbread she'd cooked, Aretha Franklin on the radio. Mia danced, her gold star sticker pinned to her shirt, and Amara joined her, spinning her daughter under the flickering bulb. "We're getting that house, baby girl," she said, laughing. "Sod and all." Rosa raised a glass of sweet tea. "To Amara, our Vine City queen, and to dreams that don't quit." They toasted, the room alive with love, but Amara's mind drifted to the note. Marcus had explained, but Vanessa's final jab, "Enjoy it while it's yours," felt like a warning. As the party wound down, Amara found a new email in her inbox, this one from Vanessa herself. "Congrats on the win, Amara. But ask Marcus about the trust fund he buried for James's son. Secrets have a way of surfacing." Attached was a grainy document, a trust fund receipt, Marcus's signature faint but clear. Amara's heart stopped. A nephew? Another lie? She looked at Mia, sleeping now, and the joy of her victory fractured. Marcus had sworn no more secrets. But this? She didn't confront him. Not yet. She needed time, proof, a plan. Spark Tomorrow was hers, Horizon was hers, but her heart hung in the balance, and Atlanta's lights offered no answers. Hey y'all, where you reading this from? Drop your city in the comments and tell me, will Amara trust Marcus, or is Vanessa's truth the end? Follow for the next chapter of this Vine City saga.